All right.
Nice to have you here. So
thank you very much. Yes, it's a pleasure to be here.
To you. You can start your presentation.
Yes, sure. Just give me a moment, please. All right, I will start sharing the screen. All right, good. So today I will be talking about hybrid presentations with data in augmented reality. So hybrid presentations with data actually present a new way of seeing data that empowers your business. Now, what are those? It's very simple. It's basically using your current tools for presentations and boosting them with augmented reality. Now, what I will be presenting today is a case study that I have been conducting at DTU where I'm a PhD researcher at the Engineering Systems Design Group. So basically, this is a sneak preview of the project that I will be displaying just a bit later. So the world runs on data. And this citation by Scott Berinato. So Scott Berinato basically is the senior editor at the Harvard Business Review. And what he tells us is that we need not only to have data literacy skills, because we need to know how to use read and critique charts, but also we need to know on how to read basically data visualization. Two sides on the same coin. On one side, so it's advocating to have data literacy skills to be able to read charts, to be able to decode information. And on the other side, we should also have communication skills to produce these charts or to encode the information. So this is the two-way when we create data visualizations and we decode information. So this is what we call the last mile challenge. So the last mile challenge is about the communication of data. So this is a major challenge for data science teams because companies actually invest a lot of money to create those teams to develop algorithms and analyze large volumes of data and also find great insights. Now, this is already a significant investment. Now, unfortunately, this last mile challenge that is about communication to insights to the executive team many times doesn't go well. And this responsibility is of everybody, both the leaders that need to read this information and also data science teams that produce the information. So everybody is responsible. Now, let's see what are the competencies expected for data science teams in the 21st century. So this is a visual way to put these information. Basically, you have bytes of data that are either in the cloud or in a database. And the data scientist basically gets these bytes of data, wrangles them, selects the algorithms, then analyzes the data, and finally, he needs to communicate these. This is a lot. And many times these are unrealistic expectations. So the last mile challenge issue is here. And this is what I'm precisely going to target today. So the last mile with augmented reality. Now, why augmented reality? First of all, augmented reality is the overlay of a visual stimuli that is computer generated onto our surroundings. In other words, it's basically to have a virtual object, or it can be also a small character, for example, that is in your surroundings, thanks to technology that can be your phone, can be also a tablet, or even can be a head-worn display, such as HoloLens, which is the case here. Now, as I said, it's an overlay of information onto the real world. Now, it has been shown also studies that there's an engagement in data-informed decisions when you present them with augmented reality, meaning that there's more engagement when you see data in augmented reality versus having the same data shown on a screen. And now this engagement is not only with the content presented, that is data. It's also with the participants that are with you on the same room. And this is what this last study tells us about. So these are reasons to employ augmented reality to display information and data. Now, so basically the talk will be structured in the following way. I have now talked about communication of data and the use of augmented reality for this specific purpose of communicating in the last mile, which is a clear challenge, both from executive and of data science teams. Now, second, I will go now to the study case of valuation data. And we will finish with the conclusion that I call the right balance in design. Good. And now, before continuing, give me a second. Yes. So before continuing, I would like to share with you one story. And so, okay, I will stop sharing for this. If I get allowed. All right, I will continue in this way. So, and this is the story that happened to me at the beginning of the PhD. So my PhD initially is about information visualization for decision support. Now, my manager came and told me, how about if you do the same thing, but you use augmented or virtual reality for the communication of the PhD? Now, when she told me this was like having thunder in my head, because the fact that you have been a professional, so I was a professional information designer doing UX and data visualization for several years, and you have certain tools, you're used to certain principles of working, and suddenly they tell you change. Because when you work in two dimensions, you're used to X and Y and to display information as if it was on a canvas. But what does it mean to use virtual or augmented reality with data visualization? It implies the use of the third dimension. So the Z coordinate, and this changes everything, absolutely everything, because from having a canvas, you suddenly enter into a room full of data. And you have to change your whole way of thinking for doing this, which is basically what happened to me. So I had, during the PhD, to experience a change in the way of seeing. And I had basically to stop comparing things, in the sense that the only way for me to unlock the possibilities of data visualization in virtual and augmented reality was to stop comparing data visualization in 2D and in 3D, because the purpose is not the same. And as a result of a change in my way of seeing, there was a change in my way of thinking. And that's what I'm inviting you here and with this talk to do, to basically enter this case, the case that I will be just presenting, with fresh eyes. So this case is a business presentation with augmented reality in HoloLens. And now, so as I explained, this is a collaboration between DTU and Versabi. Versabi is a company that has developed this application, and they specialize in building virtual and augmented reality solutions to businesses. The case is about valuation data. And valuation data is basically estimates the value range of a company. It is also about foreseeing the earnings of this company in the following years. So we're talking about the presentation of financial data with augmented reality. Now, let's look at what does this case look like. So when a company is on sale, there's usually a tender between consultancy companies. And so each consultancy companies looks for all the data, all the information, and they present their calculations to the client. And usually these meetings are held with the CEO, the CFO, the CMO, the chairman, and the consultancy company. So we're talking about meetings that may have around 8 to 10 people. So what is presented in these meetings? Beautifully crafted reports, as you can see. So these are their general tools. And why do they use this instead of using PowerPoint? Because they told us that simply it's a strategic decisions. They don't want their clients to be looking at a screen. They want to be able to look them at their eyes, what they're discussing, the values in the documents, in the reports. And in this research, what we propose them is the following. So a hybrid version. How about if we use augmented reality with HoloLens to boost your presentations in areas that need some support? Now, this hybrid version of presentations presents the possibility of having a static object, which is the report, with values that don't change, that are always there, that at the same time can be empowered with interactive visuals that can change according to the dynamics in the discussion. It also presents a tangible object that you can touch and that you can eventually bring home with the report. While at the same time, when you discuss, you can have visuals in the meeting space. So these are the affordances of combining these two technologies, so the report with augmented reality, in this case, HoloLens. And this is what it looks like. So as you can see, this is a demo. And this precisely is what we are able to see with HoloLens. So in this case, we find three-dimensional bar charts with some of the parameters of the valuation data. So when you put the HoloLens, you're able to see these alongside the report. And just to precise the information, the paper, the kind of paper that you see is virtually generated also with HoloLens. So what we're proposing is to boost presentations that are used to be done with reports with this kind of technology. Now, through some user research methodologies, we investigated, okay, but concretely, what are the advantages and inconvenience of this using this? So we interviewed professional consultants and they told us the following. So it can create a sense of presence and engagement in the meeting, in the sense that it creates much more engagement than having only a report. Also, it's a clear advantage having simultaneous perception of data and participants in the meeting space. Because alongside your talking, like we're talking now on Zoom, I could have also around me data and information that could help address my point. Now, another point is accessibility of information to non-data experts. And that's what we talked about at the beginning of the presentation, the last mile challenge, communication of information to, for example, executives. And as seen in this example, where the executive of a business consultancy tell us that it's much easier to understand for our typical client. Now, the last point addresses storytelling and storytelling with data. So alongside, I'm presenting my reports with the data and the facts. If I can have also information that unfolds as along I speak, this can help both the client and the consultant to create a shared space for understanding. And we need to understand that these type of meetings are a discussion of assumptions. What do I mean with this? Is that, so consultants have done their best calculations. However, when they meet their clients, it's usually the first time. And in this type of meetings, the client comes with strategic information. And this information, sometimes when they would like to discuss these types of values in the meeting. So what we propose here is that with this type of technology, we can change the values in the presentation alongside they speak, and these can foster sense making around the table. So this is an assistance in the negotiation. Now, how about the risks? Well, some are very obvious, which is the hardware is invasive, it requires also additional time, and it has an extra cost. This is very clear and very obvious. Now, one of the things that we should be also aware about is that this type of visuals in augmented reality can create distractions from the content presented. Because the technology is very new, there's this wow effect, this amazement, this engagement also. And we don't want to lose our point. So it's a very fine line in design in which we should weigh the advantages and the inconvenience. And now I'm coming to the conclusion. And this is a way to visualize how designing presentations in this hybrid media should be envisioned. So first of all is the identification of the user needs of your audience. In this case, the clients are the company that want to sell their business. So identifying their needs, first of all. Then weighting the advantages and also the inconvenience of the use of the technology. Because there are clearly advantages in using augmented reality and its affordances for presentations. But, for example, using too much of it would present a risk during the meeting. It could lead to cognitive load and it could distract. So there's a very fine line, and both should be weighted properly in order to create value. Because in the end, it's about creating value for your organization or the point that you want to get across. So this kind of triad between these ingredients is what should be assessed. This is what I call the right balance in design. And basically, it's addressing the needs of your audience as a priority, because technology for technology will not create value. It's rather a human-centered approach that we should envision in an era of technological advances. So, thank you very much. This research project is funded both by DTU and H2020 Horizon Eureka project. And thank you very much for your kind attention.